Nobody knows where the fog came from. Some say it's punishment for our sins and secrets. All I know is that the sun shines over the horizon, and I'm going to take us there.
Hello friends, Sentinel H here, and welcome back to our final episode of Lifting the Fog. In this episode, we're going to go over one of the most important aspects of this game, scavenging missions. We're currently in a newly started game. We only have our first 5 people, so this is a very good example of the first scavenging mission you'll ever run, because you'll be given random people and you won't be able to choose the best people for the job. So a couple of things about scavenging missions. First of all, we've talked about this before, you can only do them during the work phase. So it's important that when you arrive at a new destination, you try to arrive during the work phase. You don't want to spend any more time than you absolutely have to at your location before you scavenging. The longer you hang around, the thicker the fog will become. We can see here on our little fog meter that it's not too bad right now. We're right here. Okay, so I have come to the very first town that's after my starting location. In this case was called Damascus. It has 3 locations. Now you'll know that when you head out, but when you go into the computer, it will tell you that as well. It's turned brown, the screen has, to let us know that we can run a scavenging mission. There are 3 locations here: the clothing store, the grocery store, and the clinic. Now, before you run missions like this, you'll want to check your comms on the help channel, the resource channel, and the supply channel, and make sure that you haven't received any missions that have transmissions that have told you where there are things, because these can really help you in planning your missions. Unfortunately, we've received a lot of transmissions about a place called Bartow and a place called Baldwin, but we haven't received anything regarding the town we're actually at. So we're basically going in blind. We know there's a clothing store, a grocery store, and a clinic here, and we can kind of figure out from this what we're likely to get at these various locations. We're likely to get food at the grocery store, medicine at the clinic, clothing store I'm not 100%, maybe materials, maybe just people. However, at the moment, if I go into my notebook and I check what we've got, we've only got a food supply for 4 days. We're on our last food ration, and we have no medical supplies. So I am going to opt to go to the grocery store. So I'm going to press B to select the grocery store as my search location. Now, automatically the radio will tune to the mission channel. This is where you receive chat from your people about the mission that you're going on. Now, what we can do here is we can get some information about the location. There are 3 searchable rooms. The internal area is 656 square meters. Unfortunately, there are no survivors at the grocery store. There's no Fearless there. There are high fog levels in the storeroom. There's usually going to be at least 1 room at a location that has high fog levels. Okay, in this case it's the storeroom. What it means is that if you stay too long in your mission, it's very likely that people will disappear if they go into that room. The engine is currently on, so the fog will thicken quickly. Our time window, therefore, is 1 minute and 26 seconds, and accessibility is moderate. Now, you really need to pay attention to the time window. Okay, this means that your people have 1 minute and 26 seconds to do the mission before all hell breaks loose. If they're still out there after that time window is up, they're going to start disappearing. It's going to be bad. You're going to lose somebody. Okay. Now, if we select the other locations, we can get some information about them. The clothing store is significantly larger than the grocery store, and there are 5 survivors here. So, you know, I am actually tempted to go to one of these locations that has survivors, because we really do need more survivors. But at the same time, we really need food for the survivors that we already have. So I really am tempted to, the clinic's very small, as you can see. There are 7 searchable rooms, but it's much smaller than the grocery store even, which is kind of interesting. 3 survivors, high fog levels in a bathroom. I still think we're going to have to search the grocery store because we really need food. We just don't have any. So we're gonna search the grocery store. Now, you can press space and the game will do the mission for you. But this is very, very suboptimal, very bad. The computer will keep your people there far too long, and you'll lose people, and it just will not do a very good job. So once you have selected your location, you want to click down here. You can go back and change these at any time before you commit the mission. And we go to the equip page. Now, this is where we can give people the items that we have. Now, you're going to start the game with 1 item. Sometimes it's a flashlight. In this case, I've begun the game with a shotgun. I have 1 of them, and it increases guarding skill by 20%. Now, the person that is the best at guarding is Kay Williams. That is Kimberly Williams. She's got a 30% in guard. Not far behind her really is Jay Edwards at 19%. All right, and we got to figure out who we're going to tell to do what. Now, obviously, Howard S. is our best searcher, even though he's not all that great at it, 23%. He's still our best searcher, so we definitely want him on search. So we're not going to give him the shotgun. We know that much. And our second best searcher is actually Jay Edwards. So we're probably going to have him search as well. I mean, we're going to have most people searching because there aren't any survivors here. And I'll talk about that in a moment. So we don't want to give either of these guys the shotgun because they're not going to be guarding. So basically then, we're going to basically have Kay Williams guarding. And that's probably all we're going to need because it's such a large place, small place. So we're going to give Kay Williams a shotgun. Now, if you give people these items and they don't come back, obviously you've lost the item. However, you know, as long as you're making sure you're not staying too long and keeping them alive and there aren't any Forsaken in the place, I mean fearless in the place, very unlikely that you're going to lose these things. Now down here you'll see scavenging modifiers. There are certain people who, if you simply have them on your train, they will increase, they will give you various modifiers to your scavenging missions. We don't have any of those, so that's where those would appear. Now we go to the planning phase. This shows you a radar view of the building. Okay, we can see various each room has a letter, okay, and we can see what they mean. A is the start zone. It's always A. This is where the train is. Then we have B is the shop floor, C is the storeroom, and D, this tiny little room, is the bathroom. Now this room over here doesn't have a name, but it's still a room. Okay, now there's a couple things that we can do here. This is where you actually tell your people where to go and what to do. Before we do that, we're going to check out the radar screen. Okay, now the radar screen will show you where survivors are. We know there aren't any survivors at this particular location, which is a shame, but we really need food. We have none. If there were survivors, they would show up as these little blips. These blips are showing my people. So if you look at this and you see little blips, that's where a survivor is. In fact, you know what? Screw this. We're going to go to the clinic because I have to show you, because it's a tutorial. I have to show you survivors. So we're just going to do this. I'm probably not going to keep this game anyway. So we know that there are 3 survivors in this particular place, but we're only seeing 2 blips, which means that there should be 2 of them at one of these locations. If we go back to plan mode, this is the clinic. It's very tiny, but it's got a lot of rooms. So if we look at this, we see that there's a blip right here, and if we go back to the plan, we see that that is the small office. So there's a guy in the small office. If we go back to the radar, there is another guy over here, and if we go back to the plan, that is the medium office. So B and D are where our survivors are, and then the rest of the building is what we want to search. Okay, so we can also click on the fog button, and this will show you areas of high fog. Now, unfortunately, it's basically this entire section of the building. So it's basically like this whole area here has high fog. Now it doesn't really matter because unless we stay longer than 1 minute and 20 seconds. Okay, but we're gonna try not to do that. All right. So, under the plan screen, this is where you will set up your mission. Now, we know that we want Kimberly Williams to do some guarding. So if we go back to the plan view, each of our people down at the bottom has a button. So if we hit 5, we will select Kimberly Williams. All right. Now we can give her, we can tell her what to do. So we can tell her to search, or we can tell her to guard. Those are the only two things that you can tell your survivors to do during a scavenging mission. And it's very important you know the difference. Searching is how you find items and resources. Guarding is how you, it has a couple of functions. Guarding increases the safety of an area. So if there's an area of high fog and you put a guard in that area, that guard helps to make sure that people won't get taken by the fog. But again, that only happens when the time window is up. However, guarding is also how you rescue survivors, okay? You don't use searching, you use guarding. So we know there's a survivor in B and there's a survivor in D. When I select guarding, it gives me this AoE cursor, okay? Every room that is lit up when I hover over is a room that will be covered by Kimberly's guarding action. If I want to get the survivor that's in room D, room D has to be within the guarding AoE. And because this building is so small, I'm really only going to have one person on guarding. Everyone else is going to search it. Alright, so I know that I need Kimberly to overlap D and B, so I'm going to go ahead and tell her to guard right here. Now, this tells you how long that's going to take. It's going to take her about 16 seconds just to move to the location, and total time is 51 seconds right now. Now, I want her to guard for longer. Our total time that we can spend there is about 1:26. Now, you don't want to go over. You don't want your total time to be higher than the mission window. So I'm going to tell her to guard for 25 seconds. So combined with the time that it takes her to get there, she'll be guarding. Her total move will be 1 minute and 1 second. Okay, that'll be plenty of time for her to get back to the train when the mission is over. People won't have to worry about being out too long. So we're going to go ahead and confirm that. She's going to guard, which is hopefully going to rescue both of these people, or all three of them, and get them onto the train. Now, everybody else. This is a very small location, so what the rest that we do is actually pretty simple here. I can just select everyone else, and I can tell them to search for a certain length of time. And again, I'm going to go to about 1 minute. So we're going to have Howard search, and that's too long. So we have to take his time down. Now, different people will have different. It'll take them different amounts of time to get to various places, and of course, the further away from the starting location they are, the longer that is going to take. We'll set this guy to like no, we'll just do a minute. 10. So he only has 10 seconds to search that because of is that all everyone? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I don't think I've done Morgan yet. You know, Morgan will just like, I don't know, search here. It doesn't matter. This is just showing you how to do it. So remember, searching is how you find items. If this location was bigger, we'd have to spread these people out and cover as many rooms as we can. Because this is just a small location, it's pretty simple. And guarding is how you get survivors, and guarding is also how you protect your people. Now, the time window is 1 minute and 26 seconds. If we go back, and by the way, you can go between these tabs and the plan will stay in place. You can even go all the way back to the location tab. Now, notice how it says engine on, fog will thicken quickly. This is the time where, if you want to, you can actually turn the engine off. Now, if you look at the battery meter, well, let's go back. If you look at the battery gauge, you can see a couple things. One, we can see that our batteries are fully charged, okay? And we can see the carriage draw level and the engine charge. Now, if you go to the front of the train and you pull the throttle all the way to the left, the engine will turn off, and we will immediately go on to battery power. Immediately. Now, battery power, you'll be lucky if it lasts 2 minutes or 3 minutes tops, depending on what your power upgrade level is. Our current power upgrade level is rank 1, okay, which is good because it increases the how long our batteries last. If you turn the engine off, the fog will thicken more slowly during the work phase, during the scavenging mission, and it will increase your time window. But be warned, if your batteries run out, you can't leave this screen during the mission. During this 1 minute and 26 seconds, I will not be able to leave this screen. If the batteries run out and the mission is still going, people will start disappearing off of my train. Well, not in this case because everybody's on a scavenging mission, but they'd start disappearing off the train because the power would go out. So be very, very, very careful if you decide to turn the train off. Make sure that the time window isn't too long. Make sure your people aren't staying out there very long. Now, I don't have to turn the train off because I've set the total mission length to 1 minute. Everybody is only going to spend like 1 minute in there, then they're going to come back, okay? And the mission window is 126. But if I wanted, I'm going to show it off to you, but the reason that you might still want to turn off the train is just in case you want the fog to thicken more slowly. There are 3 locations in this town. You can only search a location once, and it doesn't matter how much resources is left behind. If I want to stay in this location and I want to search another area during a different phase, I believe I can do that. The fog will keep thickening as long as we stay here. Alright? So if we want it to thicken more slowly, we can turn the engine off. But remember, from the moment you flip this switch off, the battery will start draining. So what you want to do is plan out your mission. Then go and flip the train off and immediately hit start. Okay? That's what we're going to do. Train's off. We're on battery power. Start the mission. Our priority is food, but there's really not going to be any food. The mission is going. You can see one of our orange lights has already turned off. We are losing power. I mean, the battery is going down. I'm going to show both that on the screen, but look at the screen here. Oh, there you go, look. They're finding things. They found scrap. They found people. The person is coming. We're getting the people out. They are finding things, supplies, and they're bringing them out. Now, I'm going to time accelerate this mission so that we can... Well, no, I'm not. We're just going to stay here and watch. Now, look at the clock on the right side. That is the mission timer. We are going to accelerate time, otherwise it's going to take forever. The mission timer will tick around, and if it gets to that red mark, that's the time. That time's up. If it gets to that red mark, or something. I don't know. A minute and 26. People are flashing yellow and green. They're coming back to the train. Purging. Somebody wants to conduct a purge. Alright. Mission's over. The clinic's been searched. We're going to turn the train back on. The fog has thickened a bit. Alright. Somebody was talking about a purge. I don't like that. Stop talking about purges. Now, this canister will tell you what happened. I turned the throttle off during the mission. Whatever. Location, clinic. Everyone survived. No one died. The duration was 1 minute and 10 seconds. So it took them about 10 seconds to get back in. No equipment was lost. Their hauling capacity was 10. They discovered 19. They had to leave behind 9 things. They found 3 medical supplies, 2 scrap, a materials, a chemicals, another scrap, 2 materials. They did not find any food. I'm not surprised. It's a clinic. It's not a grocery store. So, they found 3 survivors. Irene Gonzalez was claimed by Steve Howard, and these other 2 people were claimed by nobody. Here's what all this claimed stuff means. After a scavenging mission, the people that went on the mission will have first dibs on the supplies. Okay? They will claim it for their carriage because they risk their lives to go out and get it. They will also sometimes claim people that they rescue because that person maybe aligns with their faction. This is influenced somewhat, I believe, by the negotiation skill of different people. If you send two people from different trains, from different carriages on the scavenging mission, I think if one person has a higher negotiation skill, they'll tend to claim more things. So be very careful. If you specifically want some resources that you scavenge to go to a specific carriage, and you don't want to have to use an order to move those resources, then you need to send somebody from that carriage on the mission so that they can claim some resources. Otherwise, it'll all go to the other carriage, and they don't really like it when you take their things. They'll still let you do it, but they won't be so happy. So we've got 3 new people. Now, we don't have any food at all. We don't have any food to put onto this second carriage, so we don't want these people to stay in this second carriage because there's no food for them. What we are going to do is we are going to look at this second carriage and see what's up. So we've got Norma Adams, who is great at hauling, she's really good at upgrading, and she's better than average at repairing the carriage, okay? And she's in this upper right faction. Then we've got this person, Gregory Williams, who is very good at searching and not really good at anything else. He has been dreaming about... They've been dreaming about the infected. Now, here's the issue. And pods. Before this, our entire carriage was dreaming about the Maying and demons. So, this is all stuff you have to keep in mind. Because they're a different faction, this carriage didn't want them. However, because they aligned with their faction, this Irene Gonzalez person was brought into this carriage. Okay, they wanted her because she's a member of their faction, the Hammer in the Dark. However, we still want everybody to be in the same carriage because there's no food here. So in our next orders phase, we're just going to move them over there anyway. However, we've now scavenged one location. The clinic has been searched. We won't be able to search it again. Okay? Now, we can search something else. But, as you notice, our time window has shrunk. Our time window is smaller. It's only 1:22. Okay? And the thing about this is that there is a cool-off period where you have to wait for a bit. But we can now search another location. So why don't we do that real quick? We're going to search the grocery store. We are once again going to equip Williams with the shotgun. Check the plan. Oop. As you can see, the grocery store is larger. We looked at this before. The radar shows nothing. There's nobody there. We want to search the storeroom and the shop floor mainly, obviously, because that's where the stuff is likely to be. And the fog is... well, it's thick throughout the entire building. So for our plan, the first thing we want to do is tell Williams to guard, and we want to make sure that she is guarding both of these rooms that we'll be traveling in. We're just going to have her guard everything. So if we plop her right here, she'll be able to guard over both rooms. Now, we only have 1:22. However, you can see there is no way for this mission to be 1:22. We are going to turn it down as far as we can get it and confirm it. But that is higher than our mission window. We're going to turn the train off to see if that helps. But it's higher than our mission window. So we got to be really careful with that, because somebody might disappear. Now, that's another good reason to have her guard, and we'll have to see how long we want her to guard based on, the other people and how long it takes them to search. So let's tell Howard, our best searcher, to go and search at the storeroom. Actually, if we do it, he can search both. If we do it right here. So, once again. Okay, now Jones, because he was good enough that he could do both. This person can do both, but I have to put her like right here, which is slightly farther in. Okay, that's 140. Edward's searching would be 146. Morgan's searching would be 132. They can only search for 5 seconds. Okay. Now, the 146 is the highest. So we want to go back to Williams and clear her. Tell her to guard again. And she needs to guard for as long as the longest person is going to be there. So 145, because that person's going to be there for 146. It's very important. Her guarding helps to ensure that even though we go over, even if we go over time, these people will not disappear, because she is guarding these rooms. She is guarding this area. Okay? She's guarding those rooms. So that's very important. Now that we've set everything up, we will have enough power to last. We're going to turn the train off. Start the mission. And we are going to prioritize food. Now this could go south. Let's see if this works. Ah, stop that. I don't want that book. Now hopefully we won't run out of power. I don't think we will. We only used 3 dots on the last mission, and that mission only took about the same amount of time. We're not staying much longer than that. So it should work. However, things, they may not go well. I am going to accelerate time so that we can see what happens. Well, they made it back. We need to turn the train on. Alright, let's see what happened. We didn't lose anyone. The mission lasted 1 minute and 55. Okay, which is quite a bit longer than our time window was. Our next mission window would be even shorter. So, not that great. Ideally, we should have searched the grocery store first because it was bigger. And then if we searched the clinic second, since it's smaller, it wouldn't have taken as long. So, that's thinking. What did we get? Hauling capacity 10, discovered 9. So we got everything. We got 2 scrap of medical supplies, and there we go. Food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 food. And a lamp. Great. And, okay, this first carriage is full now. I mean, the cargo is full. Let us check it and see what we've got. So yeah, they've got all the food. Let's check the dream logs and make sure that everyone's dreaming about roughly the same things. Well, there's a problem with the void, but the train is not going to be attacked by the void because it's minimal there. Basically, now I have to sort through all my resources and decide, where to send them and what to do with them. But that is scavenging. All right? Very important. That's how you run a scavenging mission. I've searched 2 locations now in this place. The fog is getting thicker. If I want to, I can stay and I can scavenge the clothing store as well, and that will get me more survivors. Anyway, that's how you launch a scavenging mission. The important things to remember are that guarding is how you claim survivors. So if you see survivors on the radar and you want them, you must have someone guarding, not searching, whose circle overlaps the people's rooms. Searching is how you find resources. Alright? And if you're going to have to be there longer than your mission window, make sure you have someone guarding for as long as there's going to be people there. You want the guard to be the last one out, because they're the one that's going to make sure that the people that are staying there are going to stay safe. You don't want your guard to quit guarding and then you have your people that are still out there. That's a bad news. And if there are hostiles at the location, it's even more important that you have people that are guarding. So that's how you run a scavenging mission. We've pretty much talked about everything that you need to know in order to play the game, get through the game. The next thing that you're going to see here is that I am going to play through a round of the game until I die. We're going to continue this one and see what happens later. So stay tuned for that. I'm SentinalH, and I'm signing out.